This PPT discusses the process of issuance of most important credit control document, that is invoice, under various circumstances in GST regime. Tax invoice is a document issued by supplier to recipient of goods or services wherein description of the supply, value, quantity, tax charged and such other particulars as may be prescribed are mentioned. This document serves as a tool to government for allowing credit and matching of proper tax being paid in government treasury. Thus all forms of supplies such as sale, transfer, renting, etc., which triggers tax liability require issuance of invoice. Certain supply requires bill of supply to be issued instead of tax invoice, which is discussed later in this PPT. The foremost question that arises is when the supplier will issue invoice to recipient. In case of supply of service, tax invoice shall be issued before or after provision of service within the prescribed time. However, supply of goods can be classified under two categories. The first situation refers to the case where supply involves movement of goods. Tax invoice shall be issued before or at the time of removal of goods. For raising an invoice, the supplier should not wait till the goods reach the destination. On the other hand, where supply does not involve movement of goods, tax invoice shall be issued before or at the time of making goods available to the recipient. For example, where assembly and delivery of machinery is provided at client site. Where a taxable person has not been issued the certificate of registration, the invoice already issued during the period from the effective date of registration till the date of issue of certificate of registration can be revised. Such revised invoice shall be issued to the recipient for collection of taxes of interim period. Under the composition scheme, or where the person is engaged in supply of exempted goods or services, then bill of supply is required to be issued instead of tax invoices. In case of advance payment, receipt is required to be issued. Under the reverse charge mechanism, the recipient of goods or service is required to issue tax invoices when such goods or services are received from the unregistered person. In case of input service distributor, the document issued will be considered as tax invoice. In case of goods sent on approval, the invoice is required to be issued at the earlier of the end of 6 months from the date of removal or approval. Continuous supply of goods. As per section 2 subsection 29 of the model GST law, it is a contract which involves continuous or recurrent supply of goods. In case of continuous supply of goods where successive payments or successive statements of accounts are involved, the invoice shall be issued before or at each time such statement is issued or each such payment is received as the case may be. For example, in case of continuous supply of bricks to builders, the bricks supplier shall issue an invoice along with each batch of bricks he supplies. Continuous supply of services. As per section 2 subsection 30 of the model GST law, it means a contract for continuous or recurrent supply of services. In case the due date for the payment of service is known, the invoice is to be issued before or after the payment date. In case the due date of payment of service is not known, then the invoice to be issued at the time of receipt or payment. In case of completion of contract of service, invoice to be issued at the time of completion of service. Miscellaneous provisions related to invoices are: in case of cessation of supply or service before completion of contract, Invoices shall be issued for services rendered prior to cessation. Unregistered suppliers are not authorized to collect tax under GST Act. Registered taxable suppliers shall prominently display tax amount in all documents. Credit note, debit note. After the issue of invoice, any further amount either payable or receivable are generally settled by way of issuing of credit note or debit note as the case may be. A taxable person is required to issue a credit note where the amount charged in the tax invoice is lesser than the amount payable, or in case of goods returned, or in case of deficiency in supply of services. Similarly, a taxable person is required to issue a debit note where the amount payable is greater than the amount charged in the tax invoice. This credit notes, debit notes are required to be declared in the returns for any subsequent month but not later than September following the end of the financial year. The tax invoice under the GST should contain the following details. A registered taxable person may upload the tax invoice issued by him in form GST INV1 and obtain an invoice reference number from the common portal. Such number may be produced in lieu of tax invoice for verification by the proper officer. As per the draft rules issued under the GST law, the tax invoices shall be issued in triplicates in case of supply of goods and in duplicates in case of supply of services. The bill of supply, which is issued under the composition scheme or by the person who is supplying exempted goods or services, shall contain the following details. The following details are required to be issued in case of credit notes and debit notes. Thank you.